All right, hey fellow reefers. So here is my newer than most e260 from Red Sea. I got two Hydra HDs on the top, and I have a Ruby 30 sump in the bottom. So I kind of wanted to do a brief review. I know there's a couple of them already out there. I think some people are passing up some of the negatives that come associated with this tank. So I kind of wanted to point them out. Starting off with the light assembly, the lights they look very nice. They have crazy color spectrums, infinitely adjustable, and a little bit confusing though. You don't really know, and there's not much guidance on what spectrum should I be running, how strong should they be, how besides the normal, we know how long the light cycle is supposed to be, but what intensity should you be providing them at, and short of purchasing a $300 power meter in addition to a $2,000 tank, I was just going to hopefully eyeball it and, go from there. I'm going to try to contact a couple reef communities and see if I could get one on loan maybe to make sure I'm covering things right. But any input, feel free to add comments in the bottom or suggestions. So to start with the review, in the back, I know you guys have gone over assembly and putting the sump together and how you do need to be careful when you're putting down the main piping for the sump. In addition to that, I don't use anything in here, maybe one day, which is their little media basket that has multiple levels to it. I wish there was more flow back here. As you can see, the water kind of gets a little stagnant. It doesn't really move around as much as I would like it to. On these pumps, the circulation pumps, the inlet is down there. If they don't send you the screens, which they didn't when I bought my sump kit, I had to wait again to get those. Although they are really good at Red Sea about customer service, but everything takes time. So anyway, if these are off or just touching the wall just a little bit off that green tube, or if the pump makes any contact, this whole thing becomes a giant bell. And it's just one giant horrible vibration sound, and it's the same way on both sides. I had to end up twisting the collars and getting those pumps to kind of sit way up. So I wish there was a little bit more guidance on that. Assembly went well. I am running back over here. Sorry, I am running a Neptune classic controller, and seems to be so far doing very good. But we'll get into that in a little while. So. Just through the tank real quick, some Galaxy, Bubble Anemone. I believe this is Torch, or it kind of looks like it has a little hammer to it, but if you guys know exactly, please let me know. Some Monopora, a couple different types, another Bubble that just magically showed up out of nowhere, a Yellow Belly Hippo Tang that my kid loves, the Nemo, and some Duncan down here, and everything's kind of getting started pretty good. Got some mushrooms hiding in the back there. My aquascape might be changing a little bit. I was kind of in a rush between the upgrade from the other tank, so I'm probably gonna make it look a little bit better and get these rocks repositioned. But I have so much time into this. You guys know it takes time. So down below, I am running, as I stated earlier, I am running the Ruby 30 sump with the right hand drain input, and so far so good. I wish I had a little bit more flow, but this is my first sump, so maybe I just need to be patient with it. The blue tape markers are my max and fills, and so I've been experimenting with that, seeing exactly where I need to be. I'm running a CC, a CJ, whatever you guys want to call it, 5.0 return pump on 3/4 plumbing, and all the way over to the other side. This is my ancillary or secondary drain, emergency overflow. The valve that comes stock with the Red Sea is supposed to have like little clicks of engagement as you're adjusting it. I've noticed that it is extremely sensitive. A 32nd or even a 64th of an inch makes a difference on whether this tank is properly draining or not. Very, very, very finicky to control. The other big negative that I thought, and hopefully Red Sea will fix this or help people out, all the discharge plumbing that comes, drain plumbing that comes from Red Sea is not a universal size. It is not a size found in America. You can't buy adapters for it. They won't help you. They want you to use their sump and their equipment. It is a very odd size. I was able to cut the pipe and use a 1-inch elbow, and I just really jammed it down in there really hard, and I used a pathetic amount of heavy duty adhesive. I freshwater cycled this tank to check for leaks for over a week, just because I was so nervous because it wasn't a snug fit. And so now I've been a couple weeks in running on this saltwater system, at temperature, and so far so good, no problems. I did add a bunch of unions everywhere, and even as you read, they recommend, for your flexibility. With this tank, I wasn't able to use both drains, to use both filter socks. I really wish I was. It just didn't line up right, and it became a plumbing nightmare to get it in. So I am only just using one sock. The other things that I've had to do to make modifications to get the vibration down, I ended up putting one of those silicone mats under that pump. You do have to extend below their connections that go into the top of the sump, and I did that even in the filter sock section, which is really hard for you guys to see, I know, but I did add another piece of 1-inch pipe below it so that you didn't get that water sound. I really wanted a quiet sump, and I wanted this to be efficient as well. So some of the other things, I wish that when they did their probes positioning, area, I wish that they had the little screws on there to help tighten those up and keep them really organized. I feel like a couple things could have been done a lot better. I wish that there was little clips or something under here. They know that your heater and assemblies are, going to be over here. I wish that they had some cord management, built into this sump. I think they're so close to having this thing be so amazing that a couple little extra additional things I would have definitely paid for. This is my skimmer. I got a Vertex Omega 150. This is my first time running a Vertex product, but it is working very well. Again, another very, very sensitive product. A 64th of a turn on the main adjustment, and it's whether that cup floods or not. That's why I'm running this long tube right here, so that when it overflows, it doesn't come out of these 4 holes and everywhere. It just comes up here, it'll trickle out, and then come right back down and drop down. And it's kind of a quick way for me to drain it. If I didn't want to take it apart and clean it, I just hold my bucket under and and use it that way. So over to the electrical stuff, I am using parts of the Red Sea system. I did like how sleek the design was, not knowing originally that I was going to end up with a reef controller. I really was turned on by the fact that this was an integrated system. A little review on the little buttons here. The plastic that covers these is very hard. It's like a stiffer than you would expect. It makes it a little bit cumbersome to push those on and off. I feel like eventually over time they're going to crack and wear out. But more to follow. We'll see. So anyway, I do have the classic system, and I am upgrading slowly. I'm going to eventually be getting an ATO and a 2-part doser. So I am running TP-Link, it's called, because I didn't want to run an Ethernet cable all the way over to this. It was a $19 fix versus running a cable from my router on the other side of my house to this fish tank. It works great. You just plug it into the router, plug it into the wall, plug it into the wall on the other side, and connect the Ethernet cable. It's worked flawlessly for me. So I am questioning, like I started to say earlier, I am questioning the flow of my refugium and the flow of my tank, and I might be doing some ancillary style systems to help support it. The wave that's seeing in here in the current is actually from that skimmer. If that skimmer were shut off, it would be almost a pretty stagnant system, despite that this pump is turned all the way up. So I hope this is enough, but no one really offers you any good guidance. If you ever try to email Trigger Systems because you wanted to get top for the refugium section, or you wanted to get a top for this side to help reduce evaporation, yeah, they take months to reply. They may be making a top of the line product, but they definitely do not have top of the line customer support. So really research and watch a bunch of these videos when you're going to get stuff. The other, let's see, mistakes that I've made setting up. The first sump, this was a 36-inch wide tank. I tried to get a 34-inch sump in here. It would not fit, and it's not because of the electrical box, but it's 36 to the outside edge of the glass, and the inside tank ends up being 34 and a little over 3/4. And these trigger sumps are made very exact to the distance. So when they say 34 inches, they mean 34 inches. So this is the 30, and I really wish I could have fit a 34 in here. That other style sump, had much nicer, I think, layout and design. It is a little bit challenging to get the filter sock out of the back. It's way back there, and you got to push it below that, and I have that little piece of extension pipe on there. So anyway, it does, you get it out, and hopefully maybe I won't be running socks for too long. They are hard to clean, but this is my first experience with it. Down in the bottom corner, I bought a Honeywell water monitor just to go around. It's a cable that just runs around the entire outside of the sump, and if any water, if it even missed on that thing, it starts beeping off. The only problem is as my wife found out when I was doing some experimenting, is it sounds just like the smoke alarm, and we burn wood here, so she had a little bit of a scare, and my little guy came running down. He's like, "Daddy, what's wrong?" So anyway, it does sound exactly like a smoke alarm, which is kind of a negative thing. I wish it had a little bit of a different sound to it. So some of the other things that I kind of learned as I was going is you can get really, really good support for Vertex. You can call them directly, and they are amazing, and they will help you out. It came with a couple of different components that aren't pictured in the thing, as an air valve that can do some additional controls to help really fine tune it in. The other things that I did learn that I picked up are that this the corrugated tubing, and I'm sorry I can't get a better picture of it, that connects the two. You want maybe a little bit of a longer piece to help reduce vibration. When you grab a hold of this, you can feel the pump vibration coming right through it, and that's where I kind of get some of my hum from. The skimmer is almost virtually silent. It is very, very quiet. I did put a grow light in here from Lowe's. It was like a $20 option. It's not very strong. I don't think it's going to be enough to support Chaeto, which is my end goal, is to use some macroalgae to help keep my nutrient levels down. But I really like the way it looks under there when it's on independently, and I'm going to be adding a different 6500 spectrum refugium light to help promote coral growth. The other things I'm going to be adding are 2 magnet switches to the doors, so that when I open the doors, the light will automatically turn on, and also when I'm not around, if my kid were to get in there, it would kind of let me know. I can set up an alert for it. So along with an auto top off, I'm going to make a fancy stand to kind of go next to the tank because I don't have any space under here, and a 2-part doser. Those are the other things that I'm kind of going to be coming with. It looks like I'm probably going to be going with the BRS 2-part doser. I really like that it's a controlled slow amount, and that they've actually measured it, and it looks like they've had pretty good success with it. And a tunes oscillator with a double I. So that's kind of where I'm going to be going for. If you guys have any suggestions or comments or questions, that would, feel free to write them below. And I appreciate your time, and I wish you guys the best of luck if you end up purchasing this tank. And here's just a brief review of what I kind of got going in here. Have a good day, reefers. Good luck.